The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bear. Our good man Aunt Petty Murphy will be joining us shortly. Want to start off by saying Happy New Year to everyone. Hope that the new year brought in many blessings. As we know, the tragedy that took place in New Orleans, our thoughts, prayers go out to all those families affected. Um, love on your people. Make sure you cherish each day. Live life to the fullest. It's heartbreaking to wake up and see these things happen. Um, but we are here, and look, we are going to do our best to do this show with heavy hearts. Um, but man, what a day for college football yesterday. We're gonna talk about LSU in the bowl game, the Texas Bowl, how they beat up on Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears. We're gonna talk about the other bowl games, South Carolina letting us down. We'll talk about what's good, man. We'll talk about also the playoff games and how um, those games have turned out. It's a very interesting stat in there. Our good man Alan Bell, who's joined us previously from the Driving the Line, brought up a very interesting point. He talked about when he was on our show, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But first, what we gotta do. We gotta give a shout out to our sponsors over at Bet Online. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, we are back. What's good, brother? Welcome on, man. Hope all is well.
What's
Happy
going
New
on,
Year.
man? Happy New
I
Year.
ain't, I ain't seen you since last year, man. It's
I
good to
know,
see you on here.
I know, man. You acting funny. Been a whole year since I seen you, man.
Yeah, man. dominating performance. Dominating performance by LSU in this game, the Texas Bowl. Before we get really jump into it and give our breakdown, I do want to look at the stats, from that game. And let's take a look. Can y'all see this all right? Should be able to.
Yeah,
Let's see. All right. I don't know if I need to.
I can see it. I don't know about them, but I can see it good.
Yeah. All right. Y'all let us know if y'all have trouble seeing it. What's good, Aaron? What's good, Josh? But let's go ahead and take a look. Biggest thing, man. Total yards. Baylor, 507 total yards. LSU had 418. The bulk of that, passing yards. Baylor had 445. LSU had 304. Baylor was held to 62 rushing yards. That's kind of misleading to an extent, but Baylor did have 62 rushing yards. LSU had 114. Um, 4 penalties for 30 yards for Baylor. LSU had 6 penalties for 47 yards. Baylor had a whopping 31 first downs. LSU had 20. Third downs, Baylor was 5 of 13. LSU was 6 of 13. On fourth down, Baylor was 1 of 6. LSU was 1 of 2. They ran 84 total plays. LSU ran 61. Uh, Average yard of completion, 14.8 yards for Baylor. LSU was 12.7. We did hold them to 1.9 rushing yards per rush. LSU had 4.2 yards per rush. In the red zone, they were 4-7. LSU was 3-4. They held the ball for 30 minutes and 22 seconds. LSU had it for 29 minutes and 38 seconds. They had one turnover. Defense got 6 points off of it. LSU had 2 turnovers, giving up 7 points. And 2 fumbles lost. I'm sorry, 2 fumbles by Baylor's, none lost. LSU had 1 fumble that was lost. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Hey, I think that 7 points off turnovers is what we scored off our pick six, and they scored 6
That's
points
true.
off our 2 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. But
that's
yeah,
right. The 2 field goals. They got 2
yeah,
field
yeah,
goals out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But interesting to me, if you look at total number of plays, there's what like a 20 some play difference.
23 plays, yeah.
Yeah, but the time of possession is basically even. You know what I mean? So it just shows that how much quicker of a pace Baylor was playing at than us. And some of that could be because we had the lead and we was trying to, milk clock and some of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was very interesting to me, the difference in the amount of plays they ran compared to us. And when you take that into consideration, you know what I mean, they ran 20 more plays than us and had 100 yards more than us. That's about, it don't make that discrepancy in total yardage look as bad whenever you look at the fact they ran 23 more plays.
Yeah. When I said earlier that the rushing yards was kind of misleading, if you look, they had one guy had 63 yards rushing, one guy had 24 yards rushing, 8 yards, 3 yards, but then they had minus 36, which was that
Bad snap.
That bad snap. So I mean, me saying it's kind of misleading. Let's not get it twisted. If you take that out, LSU still held them under 100 yards rushing. That's still a phenomenal day in the office. I'll take that any day of the week, and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I do want, like I said, I just want to point that out that that was there. I do want to go to the defensive stats though and look, because we've given this young man such a hard time.
Facts.
Jordan
Especially me. I'll be the main one to say I've been very critical of him at times this year. Whenever I felt like his play wasn't up to standard, you know what I mean? But if I'm gonna do that, then it's only right that we do like you doing right now and give the man credit when he plays well. So go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan Gilbert, stepped up, 7 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Uh, we know Whit Weeks went down with the injury at the time. He had 6 tackles, 3 solo. His brothers came in and stepped up as well, had 7 tackles as well, 3 solo. Ashton Stamps had 6 tackles, 3 solo, 3 pass breakups. It's a lot to be desired though.
The big
Still,
the big thing to me about Jordan Gilbert though was that TFL, bro.
yes,
And the way he got it, coming in on that safety blitz, timing it up just right to where he could come in unblocked and make the play in the backfield. And not just be in the backfield, but actually make the play. Like we've seen plenty of times this year where we've had guys in position to make big plays like tackles for loss, or and they're there to make the play, but they don't actually make the play. They, whiff on the tackle or they don't wrap up all the way, whatever the case may be. But you got to give
right.
him credit for being there and for actually making the play. So I hope we see a lot more of him in that type of role where he can be around the line of scrimmage and make those type of plays.
Yeah. Stepping up for the 2 guys that Burns and Ryan, Sage Ryan. Um, Toviano stepped in. He had 6 total tackles, 5 solo. With that, man, I just want to say a lot of people, he kind of started off a little slow, but he got into a rhythm. Very good tackler,
Yeah.
in the open field. I know there was one he missed, but there was also that was the one where Baylor threw a pass broke long. It was one other wide receivers got downfield, got a good block, and I do want to say Baylor has some tremendous downfield blocking by their wide receivers.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Toviano missed on that one. That's the only one I can really see. Devon Keys, man, what a game by this young man. 5 tackles, 3 solo. He had an interception. He had a pass breakup that could have also been another interception.
Mm-hmm.
PJ Woodland stepped up. He had 5 total tackles, 4 solo, and a pass breakup. Zy Alexander had 4 tackles, 2 solo. And we can go on and on and on. Savion Jones had a tackle for loss. Parashan had a sack. So I mean, the team as a whole, man, just let's say you got Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan didn't play?
Nah, that was probably
I don't know because
Chris,
Pickett
that was probably Chris Hilton.
interception. He probably got tackle on the interception. Okay, I was looking. I said, why does he have Sage Ryan? But anyway,
It was the interception of the phone. I think it was on the interception though that he was the one that made the tackle.
Yeah. So, so that I like I said, as a whole, man, I was impressed by what we saw. Definitely want to see the DBs, do a little bit better. It's too many big plays. I felt.
Mm-hmm. And the thing, if you will go to Baylor's offensive numbers,
Yeah,
if you will.
Okay, here we go.
They receiving. Look at that. What 8, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2. Like he was spreading the ball around. It wasn't just like one guy who was. I know that one guy had 111 yards, but it ain't like there was one guy who was just dominating us and we just couldn't stop him. It was multiple guys that had nice games against us, and he was able to find multiple open receivers. So to me, that doesn't say he picked on one DB. You know what I mean? It shows me that the entire secondary was giving up plays from Zyda Stamps to whoever was in that safety position to even PJ Woodland when he got in. Like everybody really was giving up some plays out there, and I think that we what the heck was that, Lane Kiffin?
Oh shoot, I forgot that game was on.
Man, they just went like a fake field goal swinging gate type thing on 4th and 4, and they threw a pick in the end zone. And Duke ran it back like midfield. But yeah, it just shows me that like the whole secondary was kind of food on I almost said on Saturday. On
Yeah,
on Tuesday, it just seemed like everybody was giving up plays out there. So I'm with you. I think that secondary got to be tightened up. Especially,
yeah,
I mean, if you look at, and I know it's a long way away, but if you look
right.
later this year, I mean, first game of the season, you finna go up against Cade Klubnik and that Clemson offense, who we just saw throw for 300 plus on Texas defense. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it ain't gonna get it. And they running the half a pack. What is going on?
The mid off. This is so stupid. That game is so
Like I
stupid.
get it. I get it. It's bowl games, and you want to do stuff that you ain't done all year and stuff. But at the same time, bro, like it's a time and
It's,
place for it, bro. Like, but anyway. But yeah, I just feel like I just feel like going into Clemson week 1, man, and I know we getting guys in transfers and Pickett and Anding and guys, we getting guys in, but even with them, bro, we gotta make sure that back end get tightened up.
yeah. Here's my and you touched on it, and he spread the ball around. But here's my problem. If you look at the longest reception, 21,
Mm-hmm.
46, 35, 35, 20, 17, 12, 18.
Yeah.
That's an issue for me.
I mean,
And
I
like you
mean,
said,
like to not to interrupt you, but like compared to ours, right? Like
yeah,
we think of ourselves as like an explosive pass offense, right? 33, 21, 43, 17, 15. It looked like they numbers. And nobody coming into this game said Baylor was a high power passing offense. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, why do they longest catch stuff look like our high explosive passing offense numbers?
yeah. Um, we talked about it. It's funny because I mentioned it twice. I said it twice. I said it after when we found out who LSU was going to play, and I
Mhm.
talked about Baylor. Said, "Hey, I've watched Baylor play when they played Houston. I was at the game."
Yep.
Talked about how the quarterback looked. Not a bad quarterback, but he's going to throw you some picks. The interception that he did throw wasn't even a bad throw. He threw 4 other interceptions that game that we dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the funny part about it.
At least 4.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's With that said, for the guys, and I might be sound like I'm backtracking a little bit. For the guys that we had in who stepped up, who weren't necessarily expecting to step up or be in the game, Tyler Singleton, coming in after Weeks got injured. Toviano, who stepped up because Major Burns opted out. Uh, Chris Hilton Aaron Anderson, Xavier Thomas, those guys stepping up when CJ transferred, and you got uh Kyron Lacey stepping out. Those guys stepping up and filling in those positions did a phenomenal job. I was very impressed. And last year during the bowl game, we talked about what will we expect um from these guys. And it was, I mean, what was this game tell us about our team? It was like, it won't tell us much because it's not our team's gonna look completely different. This bowl game, I think, tells us a lot about next year because a lot of these guys are coming back. I
Yeah.
think, man, just about everybody who played is coming back except for onesie twosies here and there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
offensive line played exceptionally well, in my opinion. There were some plays.
Shout out
And
Cohen, bro.
shout out Corn Eccles, major. It may have been somebody else we give a hard time, and it may have been his last time playing center.
Yeah.
But DJ Chester, I, outside of the snap infraction, I didn't necessarily look at him and was like, he getting beat. This is happening. This is shout out to him. But we look, Aaron Anderson, Trey Green, who had an emergence of emergencies, went from being our big split wide receiver to now being, tight end one. And he goes in, he has 6 catches, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and could have been 3 touchdowns, almost 3 touchdowns, but he tripped. I mean, literally speaking, not not in the figurative sense. Uh, Chris Hilton, who stepped up, and I don't know if Flage was in the stands and he just had to make sure. Um, he had to represent for the Power Cup and do his part. But Chris Hilton, 100 yards receiving. That's somebody who we have been wanting to see step up. People have been people have been so critical of him because of his injuries, and then when he gets in, the wild just jumping randomly, But he stepped up, had an amazing game. Xavier Thomas with the kickoff return.
Yep.
Yeah. Josh Williams in his last game, the way he performed, I just, like I said, I was enthused. I was excited. Very happy to see it. Every time, one thing about this team I did that I loved, every time Baylor started grabbing momentum, they made a big play to change the game.
Yep.
Um,
Hey, while we're giving credit to people
yeah.
who played well, I'll say at times he played well this season, and at times he was very shaky. But the performance we got from Garrett Nussmeier in that bowl game is exactly what you want to see from a guy going into his second year as a starter. I know he threw the interception, and we can debate whether he should have threw it, whether it was a bad play or not, or whether it was just a good play by the defense. I'm not even concerned about that. But when you look at the fact that he threw 10 incompletions and probably should have only had been about 5 or 6 incompletions, because there was a few balls that were dropped that could have been
2 touchdowns.
touchdown. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
The trade as I mentioned where he tripped. Yeah. So
it should have been probably about 5 or 6 incomplete passes instead of 10. So he was very efficient. Got the ball to a lot of different guys in space, deep shots, intermediate short stuff. That the play that might go unnoticed to a lot of people, but to me was probably his best play of the game. Whenever he read that cornerback blitz and he threw the hot route to Xavier Thomas on the sideline, beautiful play, bro. I mean, it to most people, because it wasn't one of the Chris Hilton touchdown passes, or it wasn't the pass to Aaron Anderson where he got the double toe tap,
yeah,
like that ridiculous throw. It wasn't none of that type stuff. It was just a simple throw, but it was the read that he made on the throw that was, to me, that made it such a great play. To read the cornerback come and get the ball out your hands quick before the safety could come over and make the play. That's next level quarterback stuff. And if we can get that type of quarterback play from us next year, I think we'll be all right.
You mentioned, I didn't even read off his stats. I read the rest of them. He was 24, 34, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. But he had 71% completion, had a passer rating of 168.9. On the interception, he made the right read for the coverage. However, he made the read pre-snap and didn't see when the DN dropped out. So he's that's something that's plagued him. I think that's if he works on that, like you said, sky's the limit next year for this offense.
Yeah.
Especially if this offensive line can gel, be as good as we think they can be.
And that's the thing, bro. Like, the offensive line played this well, and we add 2 quality pieces to it.
Yes, big facts. Miles Frazier has gotten hell a lot of this year, last year.
Great tackle.
He looked phenomenal. phenomenal. Um,
Like I see why he was a freshman All American or whatever at Tech. Like you know what I mean? Like, and what's crazy is if you think about it, he had a bad game against Jared Verse his first year here, and then all of a sudden we was like, nope, you playing guard. Like it's Jared Verse, bro. Like
yeah.
arguably the best.
What was it? No, it wasn't. Was he? I thought he was. Who was it? It was somebody else that was on the team that was playing that got
But
that
Tremont
after
Shorts. That was Tremont
Tremont
Shorts.
Shorts. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then ended up. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, you're right. They probably moved him more because of needing
yeah.
to replace Tremont Shorts than Frazier perform. You're right. That makes more sense.
But I do want to say this because a lot of people but you're absolutely right. That one game that stains your
Mhm.
reputation and sticks with you. Um, a lot of people will argue me about this. Darren Evans, who came in and played that first game against Mississippi State, had been at LSU maybe
Yeah,
what 2-3 weeks.
yeah.
Played a terrible game. Later went on to have a
Yeah,
pretty
he played for the elite and Giants, didn't
yeah.
he? Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, he's still since still with the Giants. I think he may be on the practice squad, but y'all got to get over this, man. Get over
yeah.
that one
I
game.
mean, like if that's the case, Malik had one bad game what 2 years ago, and I mean, one game don't define you, man.
Yeah. Um, let me ask this because I think we talked about that. Hold on, let me fix this. So let me ask this question to you. What did you learn about this team from this bowl game?
We had more depth than I thought we did.
Big facts.
Like
Big fact.
like some of the guys who played on the offensive line, Cohen Eccles, um, Old Bordelon. Like I didn't know what we had in those guys, man. You know what I mean? But they held their own out there. So now I know going into next year, we got quality depth on the offensive line. We saw bits and pieces of keys in the season, but like you said, uh seeing him play a full game, seeing Singleton out there, I kind of see why they didn't go get another linebacker in the portal. Like Keys good playing middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Um, even like Toviano, playing safety. PJ Woodland out there playing DB. It just to me it looked like some of the guys that we wondered what they could be, they kind of showed us that they could be what we think they could be possibly. And so instead of like some of them question marks got erased a little bit. You know what I mean? Like we started being able to say exactly what some of these guys are instead of having the jury still be out on them.
Yeah. Um, hold on, I'm trying to adjust this. As we get ready to move on, because I want to bring this up, and before I ask my next question, um, man, Aaron says happy to have Gilbert back as a quality depth piece next year. Maybe he was playing hurt all year.
Yeah, that's a big factor in it too. I heard that he was what was the shoulder, I believe, that he was playing with a hurt shoulder all year, I think. And
Mhm.
we're talking about a guy who ain't tackling well, and you got a messed up shoulder. Yeah, it's starting to make a little sense.
Yeah,
But sometimes I wish guys and and maybe that's on us as fans, right? Like we need to stop being so harsh and think about what I could be factoring into things. But
stop throwing so many expectations.
well, not just that, but possibly be like, if a guy ain't playing good, maybe it's because he hurt. You know what I mean? Like maybe it ain't just because that he trash or that he a bum or you know what I mean or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's because there's other factors that's playing into it that's contributing to his poor play. And so like I'm guilty of it. I'd be the first to admit it. But that very well could be the case, Aaron. That the reason we saw some of his subpar play this year is because he was affected by injury.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Ask this next question. Most excited to see blank next season. It could be a person, it could be a personnel group, it could be a situation.
I'm most excited to see how they incorporate the defensive ends we got in the transfer portal. Because the combination of Pyburn, Butler, and Patrick Payton is versatile, and I think you can do a lot of different things with them in terms of different formations, 3-4, 4-3, all that kind of stuff. You can stand Peyton up, you can put his hand in the dirt. Same with Pyburn, so I just want to see how creative they get defensively and how the rotations look with them. Who's gonna be the run stoppers? Who's gonna be the pass rushers? Like that kind of just what roles do they play? Because I think those are probably three of the. If I had to rank like the importance or like the quality of the guys in the portal, I would say probably those three, probably three of the top 5 quality guys you got in the portal.
Yeah.
You know what?
Uh, yeah.
You got some talent right there.
Yeah. For me, most excited to see blank next season. Linebacker play under year 2 under Blake Baker.
Yeah.
Um, I think, and this, and I hope nobody takes this out of context. I think Harold Perkins getting hurt was a blessing. Could be a blessing in disguise. It made a lot of people step up in that linebacker room. And I think it also put Harold in a position where he actually got to watch the game a lot more, and kind of see the game from the sideline, to see kind of what's going on, to understand, hey, kind of, what I'm saying, a
Yeah.
coach's point of view from the sideline. I think he's going to come out. He's going to shock people. I think that Damone Clark jump is what we're going to see next year. From Harold Perkins in the linebacker or the star role. I think having those young guys step up weeks. I think even this game, unfortunately, with Weeks going down, Westweek coming in, Devon Keys, Singleton, I think those guys will be playing with a lot more confidence in that linebacker room.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, so because it's funny, because I remember when Harold Perkins got hurt. There was a sector of fans saying that the defense will be better without Harold Perkins and stuff like that, and I knew what they meant, but it also sounded like people were saying that he wasn't good at linebacker, and I understood the sentiment there. That's why I feel as though Harold Perkins being back, he's going to be a better linebacker. He's going to be a better defender. He's going to be another coach on that field. And then you with him, Weeks, and the instincts we saw from Keys, and I just feel, because I'm just saying, especially with the younger Weeks coming in too. I don't know how much he plays, but their daddy was a linebacker.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I know somebody watching gonna be like, "What?" Nah. I know his daddy plays center, but that was a joke from Spaces.
I know.
Yeah, but I really do think that linebacker group is going to be a real big strength. Also, the D line, D ends, is going to be nasty, bro. They're going to be nasty next year. Now, I will say about this game before we get ready to move on. That's the one place I was disappointed.
What's that?
Our D line. They didn't get a lot of push, or get a lot of they weren't I was
Got pushed
expecting,
around a little bit.
yeah, I was expecting them
Especially
to
early.
be, yeah, I was expecting them to be more in the backfield a lot more. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think they for some reason they just seem to be like almost like playing slow. You know what I mean? Like they were slow firing off the ball. They
Mhm.
were kind of slow in pursuit. You know what I mean? They just seemed like they were a little. I'm not gonna say lazy or nothing. You know what I mean? But it just didn't.
Yeah, man.
It just didn't seem like they was playing at the same speed early on. But they caught like second half later, like well mid second quarter to and in the second half they played a lot better. But it just seemed like early on to start the game, and it could be because you had what a month off or whatever it was. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And I know they practice 12 practices or whatever for the bowl game, but how physical are you really in those 12 practices? You know what I mean? So it could have been the fact that because we saw what we was able to do running the ball early on in the game. We was kind of pushing Baylor around early on, so it just could be the fact that those defensive linemen hadn't had reps, real physical reps like that.
Mhm.
Accumulated game reps in a month, so it took them a minute to get back in the swing of things.
I'm glad you said that. And that will be a perfect segue. We're gonna come back to that though. What's good, Chris? Chris chimes in and asks, "Do you think BK goes and get a true OC?" I think what we got in BK is what we're gonna get. I mean, out of offense core, I think he's going to be. I think he's gonna be more hands on in the play calling. That's me personally.
I think BK is going to add someone to his staff that has offensive coordinator experience. I'm not going to say that person is going to be hired in an offensive coordinator role, but I think he does go and get a offensive coordinator. I just don't know if that guy is going to be hired to become an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. I do want to say the special teams, because we know we had the block. Was it the block field goal? The block field goal, and also the it was something else, a missed extra point. Um, Special teams coordinator wasn't there. I know you've got analysts on the team and stuff like that, but the guy who was your special teams coordinator, Coach Nagel, has left and was not with the team. So Paul's Hub says, I see us winning a game next season primarily because of Trey Edge Green. There's going to be a mismatch in our schedule.
Hmm.
I can see that too. I can see that too. And you brought up though having a month off and how that can affect, possibly having slow starts.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the quarterfinals of these college football playoffs.
Sheesh.
E- Every team that had a bye lost. I mean, AB, and I talked about the top of the show. I mean, AB mentioned that, bro. He
Yeah.
said you get a first round. He said you get a first round bye. He said, but he said your reward, you don't play at home, you get a road game.
Yeah, or neutral site or whatever. Yeah.
Neutral site, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the teams lost. Not only did they lose, all of them started slow,
Mm-hmm.
extremely slow. Ironically, Boise State and Boise State and Arizona State, the two teams that most people said, and you said as well, they probably shouldn't get a bye. Those are the two teams that actually had the most fight out of the
Yeah. Yeah.
out of the teams that were the
I think I
four
think
home teams.
I think part of that is because those two teams come in with a chip on their shoulder.
That's true too.
You see what I'm saying? Like if you look at Oregon and if you look at Georgia, they feel like they supposed to be here. You know what I mean? Like we where we supposed to be, all this kind of stuff. If you look at Boise State and SMU, they feel like underdogs. They feel like they gotta shock the world. So they're gonna come in ready to play immediately. So I think that's one reason why they weren't as slow
Mhm.
starting. I think because they knew they had to bring it for the full 60 minutes to have a chance.
Yeah. Uh, Shout out to Cam Scatterboo.
Man.
That dude, he woke up in Peyton Hillis' body. That dude had that Peyton Hillis.
Man, that
Remember that
dude,
year Peyton Hillis had when he ended up on the Madden cover?
yeah, Cleveland
That,
Browns, yeah.
oh my God,
Man,
Scatterboo.
I think that dude was like Taysom Hill out there for the Saints, bro. That dude was running the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball. Only thing he didn't do was block a punt.
He is, in my opinion, he is Taysom. If Taysom Hill and Mike Allstott were
Yeah.
combined in a lab,
Mm-hmm.
that's who Scatterboo was.
I honestly think if Taysom Hill played running back full time, I
Yeah,
think that's what he would look like. You know, like
yeah,
seriously.
yeah. It was
Taysom might be a
phenomenal.
little bit faster though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But but like still though, they got the same mold. You know what I mean? Like they're hard to tackle, elusive, strong, can catch, can pretty much do it all. And he just got heart, bro. Like
Mm-hmm. Bro, in a losing effort, he got offensive player on you.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? Like it's been a bunch of talk.
Not offensive player, your offensive player of the game. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I said
yeah. I
on
know
you.
what you meant. That I know it's been a lot of talk about the referees and all that. I thought that was bad both ways. Um Calls that was missed that benefited both teams. But did you know that the blocked field goal that Texas blocked of Arizona,
Yeah.
that should have counted
What do you mean?
because they blocked it, it bounced and hit the ground and went through the uprights.
Oh.
As long as the offensive team doesn't touch the ball.
Oh no, you say they blocked it, hit the uprights, hit the ground, and then went through.
No, they blocked it. It like so it was a short kick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or whatever. It was a short kick, and it bounced in the field of play, and then went through the uprights after it bounced. And
Mm,
according to the NCAA rule book, a blocked kick that is not touched by the offense that bounces and goes through the uprights should be counted as 3 points.
that's crazy.
So
That's crazy.
technically, they should have won the game in regulation.
Wow. I'm gonna tell you something else because I'm tell you what I'm sick and tired of targeting. Targeting is such a it's so people. There's two types of targeting. There's targeting if you are a runner and someone, if you lead with the crown of your helmet, no matter what happens, no matter where you hit them, if you lead with the crown of your helmet, that is targeting. Period. Now, here's where things get a little sticky. When you're a defenseless player. If you're not a runner, when you make, for instance, the play at the end, you know what I'm saying, of the game, when you catch the ball, if you have not turned into a runner, meaning you have not, you know what I'm saying, gained possession and taken, well, I think it's like 2-3 steps, something like that. Any forcible contact to the head or neck area, you do not have to use the crown of your helmet. You
Right.
do not, it says with a forearm, with a hand, any forcible contact to the head or neck area is targeting. I don't care what down it is. I don't care where we at and what how much time left. A penalty is a penalty is a penalty. That is targeting. We've seen it. We've seen it Georgia Tech. We've seen it Texas, Georgia twice. And we just saw it. Now the SEC championship game with Gunnar Stockton is a little bit different. He was a runner. It wasn't the crown, but if he had just got the ball, that would have been targeting because he got hit in the head. That's just it. I really think, regardless of whether you call it targeting or what you call it, if you don't think it was, we need to go to a system where there's 2 tiers, or maybe even 3. At least a targeting 1, targeting 2. Targeting 1, you get your 15-yard penalty. Targeting 2, you get 15 yards and you out of the game. But I think if you're out of the game, you're out of that game. You don't do the whole next game, because I feel like that's excessive. Yeah, that's another one. LSU game.
Yeah.
When JD got knocked out.
Didn't they?
No, they didn't. Dallas Turner literally hit him in his chin with the top of his helmet, and they didn't call targeting because they thought JD5 jaw was broke. They thought he had a concussion. They thought his jaw was broke. But it's still, at the end of the day, they have to narrow down these targeting calls. The Devin White against Mississippi State. How is that's called targeting? But then in the UCF game, when the guy blindsides Joe, and you know what I'm saying, they don't call it. It's they have to get some kind of legitimate like standard for this, because it's all over the place. That's just like the catch rule in the NFL. Nobody knows what a catch is. Who was it? The Baylor game. I honestly thought the kid caught the touchdown in the back of the end zone, but the referee explained it. I think it was Matt Austin. If you catch it with you tap your foot and lift your foot up, it counts. If you tap your foot and drag it, it counts. If you tap your foot and the rest of your foot comes down out of bounds, it's not. I don't understand the logic behind it, but that's the rule.
Yeah. If you, it's just like like you can toe tap going forward, but you can't toe tap going backwards. You know what I mean? And if you toe tap, only your toes got to be in bounds. But if your whole if your whole foot go down, the whole foot got to be in bounds. Like it's all kind. That's just like the clock don't stop if you run out of bounds backwards. But if you run out of bounds going forward, the clock does stop in certain. Like it's a whole bunch of stupid rules.
Yeah,
That's how the rules are written.
yeah. So I do listen some of these other games. I know we talked about Texas, Arizona State. The best of the 4 games, easily.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Penn State, Boise State.
Decent game.
It was decent. Shout out to Genty, man.
Yeah.
No matter he fell short of the record, and people were like, I saw somebody say, since Scatterbull NFL back, Genty is a college back. Dog, say what you want. Genty still had 104 yards rushing.
Yeah.
On a team that knew that all he was gonna do was run.
Right.
Literally, he is the offense. He had 104 yards rushing. So, saying shout out to him. Oregon and Ohio State.
God.
You said at the beginning of the season, nobody's gonna go undefeated. Well, Oregon, you ain't going undefeated, and you ain't getting Caden Durham, because that was the other thing. They was gonna send him some money, and he was gonna transfer there. That boy ain't going up there. But y'all can send us some Nikes though. That'll work. At the end of the day, today, Notre Dame, Georgia. The only thing I hate about this game, I didn't, I think Notre Dame played a phenomenal game. The only thing I hate about this game, we're going to hear that the BK narrative over and over and over again until he either wins a national championship or he makes a very impressive run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm not, and somebody said it. I ain't gonna say who, just because I don't want saying them to get no vitriol. But somebody said that people are going to start talking about him, and I'm not here to take up for him. And I agree with it. I understand it, but at the same time, it's like it ain't. I just feel like it's it's different, man. It's different. Game has changed in that time frame.
Yeah.
And what he took over and what he left are two completely different things.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's my thing. I think BK set Freeman up for success, and he just capitalized off of it. You know.
Yeah. Um, other bowl games that went on. Um, Alabama. You got oh my goodness. Um
But they said they should have been in the playoff, right?
I I I I, I thought that Michigan beating Ohio State was just kind I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought it was more of a fluke than anything else. I'll be completely honest with you. I
Uh,
thought it was just, hey, it's a rivalry game. It just happened. I gotta give Shamar Moore his credit, his just due, because that man put up some, you know what I'm saying, he lost to one playoff team by 2 points. He beat another playoff team, and then he beat a playoff team from last year. I, it's very impressive, bro. Very impressive.
yep. I mean, you look at you could say his three biggest games as a head coach. He beat Alabama, Ohio State twice, and was what double digit underdogs in the last two of
Yeah.
them.
He
Pretty.
was Alabama was a 16 and a half point favorite.
Ohio State was like a 17-point favorite or something like that when they played them too. That's what I'm saying. His last two that he won, he was double digit underdogs.
Um, with that said, Jalen Milroe announced that he was going to pro. He was going to enter the NFL draft. Um, any thoughts on that?
Best of luck to the young man.
I honestly don't think he had a choice.
He could always transfer, I guess.
Can't I don't know if he can transfer or not. If he graduate, you can do it, right?
Yeah. Well, he could transfer in the spring. But
Yeah.
oh, yes, right. He ain't a playoff team. That's right. Yep. I was about to say playoff team, but he ain't a playoff team. Yeah, you right. He probably didn't have a choice.
Yeah. So because I don't think he could, I don't think he I knew he wasn't going back to Alabama. I'm be honest with you. I don't know if he rode the I don't even know if he could ride the bus back. Hey, they was yeah, it's not nice. It wasn't looking too good. South Carolina, Illinois. That game got spicy.
Yeah, man. Cost me some money too.
Yeah, but Bielema and I went back and I did see the whole taunting what Bielema did. Uh, I hope South Carolina try to put them on schedule. I know they ain't gonna happen next year, but I love to see them put them on schedule.
Yeah, man. Why
And play them.
both of them still there?
Oh, that'll be so nice. Yeah. You got anything else? Football.
Uh, mm,
If not, I got NFL Pro Bowl.
Snubs. We could talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, all right. I do want to say it's 6 quarterbacks. 2 of them from LSU.
Quarterback you?
Yeah, hey, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. All right, well, go ahead. Let's go. Snubs,
Brian Thomas Jr.
big one, off the top. How is Brian Thomas Jr. not on there?
Now, if you look at the numbers, I get it. Jared Judy had a good year, but his numbers ain't better than BTJ's. Zay Flowers,
Mm-hmm.
not better than BTJ's.
Nico.
Nico was hurt a lot, so I ain't gonna
Yeah.
get too much against him. But the ones that was healthy for a lot of the season, I'm just saying.
I'm trying to find a complete roster now.
Oh, Sammy
Here
Wilson.
we go.
He said Milrow didn't have a chance. Williams was transferring if he came back.
I told y'all that. Did I not say that?
Yeah.
I told y'all. I told y'all the new word on the street. Um, wide receiver. For the NFC side, Justin Jefferson, Amon St. Rob Brown, CD Lamb, Terry McLaurin. Um, so let's see. Let's see. You know what I'm saying? That would have been 3 LSU wide receivers if they would have gone ahead and put if BTJ would have made it.
Yeah.
And Neighbors was out, so I can
Yeah.
understand that. I'm gonna tell you somebody else who's not on here who I thought
I got
possibly could
another
have.
snub too, so go ahead.
Lad McConkey.
Mm. I don't know what his numbers look like, but he had a pretty good year.
Yeah, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, Ricky. So what's good, Adrian?
That the AFC hard though, man. There's so many good receivers over there in the AFC.
Yeah, it is.
But another one I got is Joseph, safety for Detroit Lions.
Curtis Joseph. Is that it?
Is it Kirby? I think Kirby Joseph or something. Yeah, I'm talking about his number is ridiculous.
Danny says, is it fair to say that McLaurin would not have made it without JD? I think it's fair to say that they probably wouldn't have made it without each other.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair to say.
Adrian's so funny. Ant said, I sent you a QB, make the Bayou Classic great again. Oh, man. Hey, speaking of, I know, listen, the dynamic of the East might change a little bit. Sam Shade trying to make some moves already. He trying to follow that he's trying to follow that Chinnis Berry model. He getting some of them guys, you know what I'm saying, with the, you know what I'm saying, that he played with that continuity. Bringing it over. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, bro. What else we got NFL wise? Command. Oh, I know did we talk? I don't think we talked about it since the Commanders made the playoffs. No, we did. Cause when did we do a show? The game was still going on. Instant classic. Jaden versus Phoenix. The Falcons versus Commanders. Instant classic. Great game. Great game. The future of the league is bright, bro.
Yeah,
Especially at quarterback.
Oh yeah, I mean this rookie quarterback class. You look at what Jaden has done. Obviously, uh, you mentioned Penix, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And you remember at the beginning of the year, we was doing our hot takes or whatever you want to call it, or whatever. Said Bo Nix was gonna have the best record of any rookie quarterback. Obviously, Jaden, doing, but I mean, if I ain't mistaken, they like wasn't what as far as record, and
Yeah, it's if I'm not mistaken, they are 9 and hold on, they are 9-7, and Jaden is 11-5.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So, like, obviously, he not
in a harder division, if
Yeah.
if I may add.
Yeah, in a harder conference,
Yeah.
So I think that, man, what they was able to do this year, and obviously I think Caleb will be all right. They just got to get him some offensive line help. That boy running for his life back there. But yeah, you look at them 4 quarterbacks, man, and that's a nice rookie crop. It's almost like the year And this year, that year ain't looking so bad now. The year that had Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. With the year that Sam Darnold's having, and after what Baker's been able to do in Tampa the last few years, both of them look like they should have been drafted high, in the first round. So that quarterback class looking pretty good, and I think last year's class is gonna be similar to that.
Where you draft a quarterback matters.
Shit.
Coaching matters.
Shit,
Sam
boy.
Darnold looks like he should have been a I don't even know what pick he was
He
in that
was
draft.
third, I think.
He looked like he should have been third.
Cause it
Now
was Baker first. I don't know who went second, and then Sam Darnold went third.
I know Lamar was number 32 pick.
Yeah, and Josh Allen went like 5, 7,
10. I thought he was like
10,
10, so
something like yeah.
something like that. I know they was up there. So here's with that. Because we did a show a while ago talking about none of those were in the same place they were, except for Josh Allen and Lamar.
Mhm.
I want to give a shout out to Minnesota Vikings with that too. If you remember last year, Minnesota Vikings had Kirk Cousins went down. They brought in Joshua Dobbs from Tennessee, former Tennessee quarterback.
Mhm.
He got them rolling, and they had a what's called. Now they got Darnold over there, and they doing, bro. It's
They got a problem on their hands though.
oh, they do, they really do.
Cause
Because what do you do?
what you do with JJ McCarthy, who you just spent a first round pick on? Paul
I think you,
2018 also had all time bust Josh Rosen. But I'm gonna defend Josh Rosen for a second.
yeah, yeah.
He
I was
got
gonna say, yeah,
drafted to an organization with a crappy coach at the time.
yeah. Wizen Hunt.
Yeah. So the GM, if I'm not mistaken, the GM got fired, or the GM was like, "Screw that, we're gonna go with another quarterback the next year."
They fired Wizen Hunt and went and got a
Yeah,
drafted Kyler Murray the next
yeah,
year.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then they shipped him off somewhere, and
Miami.
he never really got a chance. Who wasn't really good at the time, as far as a quarterback situation, And then he never really. Then I think he ended up in Tampa, but he never really ended up given a chance. So he might not have ever worked out. You could be right, but I'm gonna say he never got a chance to show if he could work out or not.
Yeah. Yeah, because he went to Miami. After I remember him in Miami, and if I'm not mistaken, that was probably right before Flores got there. And you know what, Flores, the whole lawsuit about
Mm-hmm.
they wanted him to tank.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't get this dance now, bro. It's so stupid. Well, I ain't gonna say it's stupid, but the whole get on the goalpost and
Yeah. That's some
yeah.
stuff.
That's like when they everybody was running off on the plug. Everybody people just doing it. It's like okay. Um, what else we got? We got basketball about to start in a little bit, or it actually has already started, if I'm not mistaken. LSU women opening up conference play tonight, taking on Has it come on yet?
I think it started at 7.
It started at 8. It was
8.
at 8. Oh yeah, they got Arkansas. So
It's 7-0 LSU.
yeah, so we'll see how that go. Oh, it's on SEC Network. Yeah. But you got anything else before we get ready to get up out of here?
Nah, man, that's all I got, bro.
All right. Oh, Wilkes was okay. Wilkes was the head coach in 2018. Arians had retired as previous coach. Why I thought it was Wizen Hunt. Wizen Hunt was
That's right. It was Steve Wilkes. That's right.
yeah.
Right. Before we go though, and I know you probably said something before I made it on, but I just want to say thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by the senseless tragedy down in New Orleans a couple nights ago. There's no place for nothing like that in the world, and it's unfortunate that it's a brand new year, 2025, and we still having to deal with senseless tragedies like this. Um, But yeah, my condolences and thoughts and prayers with all the families affected and all the ones who've lost loved ones or have injured loved ones because of this. And the hope that God can bring you some kind of peace and understanding.
Yeah. It's funny how things I say small world, how things go. Um it was a guy from Mobile. They posted he was one of the people that were injured in the uh
Yeah.
in the what you call it, the young lady, the story about the young lady who was celebrating, she was getting ready to start college. Her mama didn't even know
Yeah.
that she was going down there. Um Man, it was one guy. I heard a story about one guy who was said he doesn't really go out and said he just decided on a whim. He's like, let's just go
Mhm.
out. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it is it's hard. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people do know, you know what I'm saying, I served in the military. So my definition of terrorism is like from what we were taught was always, you know, it doesn't matter about, you know, who it is, if it's violence to instill fear for a political or ideological reason, it's terrorism. It don't matter where they from, it don't
Yeah.
matter what they look like.
Yeah.
um
It's
we as a
oh no,
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
I would say we as a country, we always talking about being better or being the greatest country. We have to stop trying to politicize everything. And we have to call a spade a spade. You know, there's no place for hate. You know, we are it's 20, like you said, it's 2025. There's no place for it.
Yeah.
It's no place for it. It's time to unite and be that great country.
Yeah.
So
To your point though, there's a term domestic terrorism for a reason. You know what I mean? Like it ain't gotta be no foreigner, it could be people born and raised right here. But the fact of the matter is that there's still a an enormous amount of hate in this world. And as long as that's the case, there's gonna be senseless tragedies that happen, and all we could do is try to. I ain't trying to sound like no preacher or nothing, man, but all we can do is is love on people, man, and try to put more love in the world to where we can drive out all the hate, man. That's all. That's the only thing they can do it, bro.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, but man, that's it. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be back.
That's Sunday. We can't do no
Jazz,
show. I ain't gonna pass FCC regulations.
hey, is Jazz watching?
Yeah, she watching. Okay, so be careful.
Well, I will not tell her that the stripper's on the way. All right, we out of here like that. We
This
out.
show was presented by betonline.ag.
Bring me my money.
You can find the Golden Boot Podcast on YouTube at Golden Boot. On Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On Facebook at the Golden Boot Pod. On TikTok at Golden Boot. Or listen on all streaming platforms. Golden Boot!